Core volunteer ministry in 2013, 2014. I am now living in Boston. I got a master's degree in social work, and I'm a clinical social worker working in the Boston public schools, mostly with middle school and high schoolers. A lot of good relationships, memorable relationships. Particularly, there were the patients at the renal department. I think the ones that kind of stand out for me and the memories that come back to me most often, even till today, are the relationships we had with the kids who lived around us in the neighborhood. And my fellow volunteer, Pat, and I, that year would always be going out, like when we got back from the hospital, and playing football or something like that, just in the schoolyard with the kids who would be running around. And one particular memory of this little guy named Shane, who took a liking to us, comes to mind. And in this day, Shane came knocking on our door, and another fellow volunteer, Yeti, was the only one home. And so Shane knocked on the door and asked for Matt. He asked for me, and Yeti just wanted to mess with Shane, I guess. And so she said, "Matt, no, I never heard of him. Can you tell me something about him?" And she's like, "You know Matt. He lives here. You know who he is." She's like, No, I don't know. Good. Who is he? Tell me something about him." I was, "Well, Matt, he's got a football. He's got a soccer ball. He's got a friend named Pat." And I think that just kind of captures me very well. I have a football, a soccer ball, and a friend named Pat. And I think just kind of goes to show just sort of the simplicity of forming kinship and just showing up. And it helps to have a football and a soccer ball and a friend named Pat. But those relationships were powerful and kind of built from these simple little moments of frivolity and fun. To be open to kind of drop your expectations. And in a way, I think being part of this community, being part of the neighborhood that we're kind of immersed in and get to develop in and experience is certainly challenging in a lot of ways, and the complexities of how the people around us are kind of impacted by poverty and race and all that. And that's certainly significant, but also not letting that get in the way of making these connections and knowing that sort of at the center there's always a place to connect. There's always something to form a relationship with. And I guess, and just not expecting too much, but being able to, I guess something, if I can bring it to present day, like something I take with me that I try to keep alive today from my experience in Baltimore with Bon Secours is I try to do two things every day, and that is have a moment of communion with somebody and a moment of sort of creativity with someone or something. And I think I feel like that's all I really need for my day to be good, to have a good enough day, is to have those two things. And communion can be as simple as kind of having a conversation and lending an ear and checking in on someone's day. Creativity doesn't need to be like a piece of music or a piece of art, but kind of just like creating kinship, creating a joke, creating a moment to share with somebody. And so those are the two things that I think I learned to really make intentional in my days in Baltimore, and continue that sort of practice today to try to incorporate those into each and every day in my interaction with everybody I come across. Like the power of stories is something that I really take from Baltimore, and in the renal department, just hearing the stories of the patients and maybe sometimes knowing that I can't change the outcome of those stories or change the elements, the setting, the conflict, and all this kind of stuff that builds the story for them, but just knowing I can give them space to share it how they want to share it with themselves, with me, with those around them, and kind of knowing that there's something healing in that sharing of a story.